How's it going, guys? Welcome to After the Catch, presented by PGM. I'm your boy KB.
Let's play off. What's going on?
Man. A lot of things have happened since we have been on last. You know why I'm smiling, so we can talk about that a little later in the episode. So, how you been, man?
Been doing pretty good, man. Excited to, chop it up with you as usual. We got a lot to get into. I guess the first topic, and I think it really kind of caught the football world off guard, was Bill Belichick getting hired as the new University of North Carolina college football coach.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a 5-year deal. He's in the deal. He's going to be getting $10 million per year, which I think Mac Brown was only getting about $5 million. So they're making a pretty significant investment into their football program.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it caught me off guard so much is because he's so close to breaking the record for all-time wins as a head coach in the NFL. And I just thought for sure between that, and I think I also thought too that he really wanted to prove that he could win another Super Bowl without Tom Brady. And so like when the rumors first started circulating, I was like, I thought it was just smoke and mirrors, to be honest with you. And then when the official announcement was made, I was like, it just kind of caught me off guard completely. So, I mean, I understand, he's a heck of a coach, one of the best coaches we've ever seen. It also made more sense to me when I found out that his father was an assistant coach on the University of North Carolina football team back in the day. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. So the connection, it makes a lot more sense to me now. After that, another thing that was kind of surprising is that he has like all these like crazy stipulations in his contract. I'm gonna read some of them off to you.
Okay, let's take a look.
So he has a buyout in his contract where if he leaves after June 1st of next year, the buyout is only $1 million, which that's interesting because it kind of opens the door. Like if there's like an NFL opportunity, like if there's like a head coaching opportunity that opens up in the NFL that he's interested in taking, $1 million is nothing for Bill Belichick. So I think it's interesting that clause is in there, and it kind of shows, at least in my opinion, it shows that maybe he is interested. If the right opportunity presents itself, he's interested in coaching in the NFL. And I think a big part of it was reported, I don't think he actually came out and said this, but the reason why he decided to go the college route is because I guess the feelers he had been putting out there as far as like potential head coaching like opportunities, he wasn't really getting that great of feedback from them, which is interesting to me because I mean he's one of the best coaches we've ever seen. So that was interesting. There was another thing too that I saw. Hold on, let's see.
Okay.
I want to say it said that his son, one of the stipulations in this whole contract, and I could be wrong, please correct me in the comments if I am incorrect, was that his son is going to be the coach in waiting. So like,
waiting if he leaves.
If he leaves, he would be next in line.
I mean, that makes more sense for UNC, you think? Like if, we don't have any heavy ties on you, but we are guaranteed lock for your son if you don't want to do it. And I think that'd be a great opportunity for his son. His son needs to get from underneath his dad anyway. So
no, I agree with that. It's just his son, he's never actually been a head coach before. And that's not to say that, that's not to say where, he'd be good or he'd be bad, but it's just, you'd like to think that they'd want someone who they wouldn't immediately kind of give in on that. But I think one of the things like, hey, if you want Bill Belichick as your head coach, like, hey, here's this long list of things that we need you to do, or I'm not coming. And so, UNC, they're like, hey, we want you, and we're gonna do whatever we got to do to get you in the door. So
right.
But what did you think about it when you saw it hit the news?
My first reaction, I think, like most people, why? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why you're coming to the NCAA. You have nothing to gain, but I do understand. Just like I always would do for college basketball, when you go from high school to college basketball before you go to the NBA, that's a bridge. It's like literally you're grooming and you're getting the kids ready and prepared to play in the pros. So I understand why he probably will want that, so he can get to those kids and get them pro ready. Because honestly, if we're being honest, Nick Saban wasn't he? He was an NFL head coach right first, and then he went to college.
No, he
Or
was
did he do
college
college?
first, and
College.
I could be wrong about that. Hold on, let me look that
Because
up.
that's what I'm wondering. Because if Nick Saban was a NFL coach first, and he went back to the college when he went to college there, I understand that part. But it just depends. I think it's smart if either way you're bridging. I'll have kids over just so they can get more prepared professionally before they go to the pros. So I don't know how he's going to make UNC a hot ticket football team. I don't want. They have never been a hot ticket football
Yeah,
team, and if they
they really
did, you know what I
haven't.
mean.
Yeah.
So
Do you think, because Bill Belichick is kind of known as being a hard nosed coach who not really like he's like a disciplinarian. So it's like it's
mhm,
not really about having fun. It's about winning. That was one
mhm,
of the things that Patriots players always said is like there was a standard. If you didn't fit the standard, he would, if you weren't playing up to the standard, he would chew you out. It didn't matter who it was,
mhm.
Tom Brady included. He would get on him too. Do you think that type of mentality is going to resonate with kids that he's trying to recruit into the program? And it's different now with the NIL and all that stuff too, so that factors into it. But do you think his personality is going to clash with like you're not coaching in the pros anymore? Like
Mhm.
these are young kids. Kids get their emotions hurt. They get feelings hurt easily. They're emotional. Like, do you think that his personality type could clash with like, young kids that he's trying to recruit into the program, or that he'll be coaching, or that he's trying to recruit into the program?
I think for some it would. For some of like the kids that are 5 stars, because he's just gonna be starting out, so you know how it goes. They're not
Mhm.
up here with the upper echelons with Alabama, with the
Yeah.
Oregons, you know what I mean, with the Georgias. So or Texas, excuse me, as well. He doing it would resonate, I think, with a lot of kids because they're like, this is Bill Belichick. He's been there, he's done it. What he says, he knows what it takes to get to the pros. He knows what it takes to remain at a high level and stay at a high level. Now, the question for myself and probably everybody else like yourself, anybody else in the coaching game when it comes to college, what is the pitch?
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing. So, do I think it'll be effective? Yes. It just depends on how he does it. And I just think for him, he's gonna be like, I'm not about to sell you anything. You either play for me or you don't. Like, I think that's how he's gonna be because he doesn't care about the NIL.
Yeah.
And I think if you do listen to Cam Newton's podcast, he actually made a good point. Because there was a viral video going out, Coach B or JB,
Okay.
he's the dude who like criticizes
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've
I know
seen
you're
him
talking about.
before,
Yeah.
and he was basically saying like kids. There's a video of him criticizing kids deciding not to play in bowl games because they didn't make the playoffs
Hmm.
and they're just going to forego and just go straight to pros. Now, if these kids got NIL deals with UNC and they're playing for Bill Belichick, he can actually go that route saying, you're already a pro. You're accepting money and you accepted this money to play and do all of this. You make a bowl game, you get incentives. You don't, you get to keep that money. It's kind of a little, it's kind of iffy. So
Yeah.
with these kids already earning over $100,000, $300,000, like for example, for my Georgia team, Carson Beck had a Lambo. Like he already had a Lambo, and
Yeah.
he's about to graduate college based on the NIL deal he had. So imagine if he just chose not to play in the bowl game. That's just a bad look, and it's not good. So I think Bill Belichick will be a very good coach. It just depends on who he can get up here and who's ready mentally. Because if these kids are ready mentally and they're just going to schools based on NIL deals, which is the the rule of thumb now,
Hmm.
that's kind of gonna steer them away from Bill Belichick. Any coach that really or a kid that really wants to be good, I think will they'll go.
I'm kind of concerned about, and I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Belichick is able to turn the University of North Carolina college football into like a real like legitimate program. They've never really been one since like, for as long as I can remember. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to do it, but I just think he has certain things going against him. The fact that they're in the ACC, and really, I mean, if you look at it, there's probably three notable programs in the ACC right now: the University of Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. And it's like, if a kid's going to go play in the ACC, it's like, why would I go play at UNC instead of playing the University of Miami, Clemson, or Florida State? So,
see, that's where it's kind of like, okay, but what has your coach done? Only won
yeah,
national championships. He
yeah,
hasn't been. He doesn't know what it takes to be a pro. He's
yeah,
coached people who have been pros, but I mean, look at top. We can go down the line. Dabo Sweeney. Who have you coached? Watson. How good is his career going? Like you have to really. Yeah, I mean, Trevor
yeah.
Lawrence.
No, when
How
you
good
break
is
it
his
down,
career
no,
going?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
So just with stuff like that, and it's like I'm not trying to back up Belichick, but his resume speaks for
it
itself.
does. And I think players who it's going to depend on what the player values. If the player values getting ready to go to being put in the best position to go to the next level,
Right.
I think those type of kids are gonna gravitate to playing for Bill Belichick. But I think kids who are doing it for the wrong reasons, either for NIL money or to be under the bright lights or whatever it might be, if their primary focus isn't on being the best football player they can be, then I think you'll see them have issues recruiting some of those types of players. But if they're truly invested in developing their talent, getting to the next level, getting to the NFL, then like you said, his resume speaks for itself. Like so, you can't deny how great of a coach he is.
There's because there's a fine line, and then on top of that, who else is he going against? Who's a new head coach
Yeah,
that's finally started to get people? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Prime time. Prime time. So
no,
with Coach
absolutely, yeah.
Prime, he's starting to get 5 stars now too. So it just depends on how is he going to be able to compete against Colorado. Colorado's finally starting to get a lot of 5 stars. I think 3 already committed, which is a lot for them. So
And the NIL, like the whole, that's basically changed the entire landscape of college football because
college sports in general, it's
exactly, yeah,
pissing me
college
off,
sports.
man.
Like it used to just be based on your ability to recruit, where you were located, what conference you played in, that played such a huge role.
Right.
Now the NIL's kind of leveled the playing field for some of these smaller schools, especially if they're able to tap into the NIL and kind of position themselves that way. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I would not be surprised at all if he is able to turn that program around. But I do think he will have some challenges as well. But I mean,
Agreed.
he's one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. I know moving on to the next topic. I know we were both kind of surprised with how the brackets kind of shook out and the teams that were placed into the college football playoff. So wanted to get your thoughts on that, just to kind of break down the bracket. So the teams that received the byes were Oregon at 1, Georgia at 2, Boise State at 3, and then Arizona State at 4.
Got it.
That's so nasty. Um,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
we got the first round matchups coming up this weekend on December 20th and December 21st. We got Notre Dame first off, before we get into the matchups, and further breaking. So after the top 4, you have Texas at 5, Penn State at 6, Notre Dame at 7. Then you got Ohio State at 8, Tennessee at 9, Indiana at 10, nasty, SMU at 11, and Clemson at 12, nasty. So what did you think of that top 12? Do you think they got it right? What were your thoughts on
No. They did. That's the first. That's the first thing to say on that. They did not get it right. I don't care what anybody says in the comments. Go ahead and at me if you want to. I don't know if it says on my profile, but I am what's called at KBB RWN22. You can find me on X. DM me, message me. We could have a full on conversation about this because when it comes down to what is going on, the games that they've played, the strength of schedule, it does not make a lick of sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Period. If you lose in the ACC championship, you do not get to go.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Period.
Yeah.
You don't. Clemson shouldn't have been there. It should have been South Carolina. I'm going to keep saying it. It should have been South Carolina. One. The other teams, Indiana, I don't know. They're not that good. They shouldn't have been in it.
Yeah.
It's very surprising to me. Because Arizona State, I understand they won the championship. They still shouldn't be in the playoff. I don't care what anybody says. You can be as good as you think you are, but they shouldn't have made it. There's just a lot of things that I just didn't like, especially when it comes to, like I said, strength of schedule. I can go down the list of my schedule. You know my team.
Yeah, yeah.
We had one of the hardest schedules, I think, this season. Like it's insane. We had to play against Texas twice, Alabama, Ole Miss. I think we played against Tennessee as well. And then you go ahead and look at, for example, I don't know if you open it. I'll open it now. I'm gonna look at. I want to look at what was it? Oregon. Oregon's
The only tough games they had Ohio State, which they
uh,
beat, and then they beat Penn State to end the year. Those are really their only two.
see what I mean? Like, if anything, moving forward, because this is a lesson, you should have had them play against us, y'all. Like, play against SEC teams or teams that you know are good. I
Yeah.
have 5 games that teams that are in the top 10 at least. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I was kind of mad about that. Oregon, I'm gonna say it, and I don't care. Anybody can be like, I'm hating. They are not what everybody thinks they are because they haven't played against anybody. Like, I honestly think if either, because I think the easiest, like, we'll get to the bracket, but the easiest way, I think, pathway that we have is my team, Georgia, because we play against the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame. And then after that, it's literally we go to the next bowl after that, and then we play against the second bracket and then national championship. I think we have the easiest route. So with that, it's more of like now Oregon's going to get exposed to playing maybe against a Texas or Ohio State or a Tennessee. So now it's like now y'all about to play against actual real heavy hitters that know how to run the ball, pass the ball, defend, have a monster line that you guys are not used to playing against. And it's kind of confusing to me. So, and then not to even speak on like, all power to Genty, man. Like I thought he should have won Heisman. Best running back in college football, probably second to none, right behind Reggie Bush, who's already behind Reggie Bush and Barry Sanders. Like it's them three. That's it. Like that's it. So I don't think they're good. I didn't think they were good enough to make it to the playoff. I don't care if they won the championship. They kind of seem like because all they have is Genty. That's it. They have a semi good quarterback, but they haven't won against the likes of Tennessee. They haven't won against the likes of a Texas. Like, do you really like? Honestly, I'll ask you right now: if Texas was to play against Boise State, do you think Boise State's going to cover 10 points?
I don't.
like we really have to think about it. So I think they kind of got it messed up. But I want to get your opinion because I'm like, for me, I'm pissed off because a lot of these games are going to be, they kind of look like, and I'm hoping they're not. I hope they go down the wire. They're going to be a dog walk for some of these teams, and it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, no, we're in this. We're thinking the same. And it especially hurts after for me because I feel like South Carolina is definitely. I don't. I think if you ask most people, it's hard to dispute that South Carolina is one of the best 12 teams in college football. Like you just if you look at our strength of schedule, who we played, who we lost, we only lost against ranked opponents. And we have some pretty big wins as well. So for us, especially, when I see an Indiana in there, who, the only quality opponent they faced the entire year was Ohio State, and Ohio State like smoked them. So seeing one thing I think for sure they need to do away with is the automatic bid if you're in the Power 4. It shouldn't matter if you're in the ACC, the SEC, Big 12, Big 10. It shouldn't matter. And especially like Clemson, They barely played anyone all year. We beat Clemson.
Yes.
Which that game, we were both ranked at the time. Last game of the season, rivalry game. Everyone was kind of looking at it like it was a potential play-in game to get into the playoff. And we win. They go on to beat SMU in the ACC championship. Not only does Clemson get in because the ACC championship, they're the ACC champion, but SMU also gets in because they lost on a field goal. Like that doesn't like if you lose the ACC championship and you didn't really play anybody all year, I don't care how good your record is. You shouldn't be in.
That's what happened to my team in 2020. I think it was 2022. We lost against Alabama in the SEC championship. We did not go to play. We didn't go to the national championship.
Yeah, so they're and I'm glad they expanded it to 12, but I think the way that this is kind of unfolded as far as the first year of the expanded playoff, it's like there's definitely a need to go back to the drawing board. You know, Arizona State getting that by, and what was their record? Hold on, let me see what their record was.
Were they undefeated or
No,
did they lose?
they were. Let me see if I can find it.
Trying to see if I can get the teams, but it's not giving me anything.
They were 11-2, so they lost one less game than we did. But again, I have to go and look at their schedule. I don't really feel like they played anybody the whole year. So yeah, I mean, seeing teams like Indiana get in, seeing teams like Boise State get in, Arizona State, seeing Clemson, it's like it's salt in the wound for sure. And but what makes me feel better about it, because I really would have been upset. It makes me upset, obviously, that Clemson got in, especially considering we beat them. But I'm just glad when I saw that Ole Miss didn't get in, when I saw that Alabama didn't get in, when I saw that Miami didn't get in, that made me feel a little bit better, because those were teams. And we lost to Alabama head to head, and I think Alabama has a better. They beat y'all this year or no?
Yeah, we were down. It was like 36 to like 3, and we had to made a comeback, and we lost like 42 to like 37 or something like that.
As far as their schedule goes, they have a better overall win. I mean, that's an impressive win, obviously beating y'all. But
because we were number 1 at the time.
Yeah. But they lost to Vanderbilt and they lost to Kentucky.
Yeah.
So their losses, they have a better win, but their losses are worse than ours too, because we lost to LSU, we lost to Ole Miss, and we lost to Alabama. So, and it's a let me say it's a tough job. I don't envy those individuals trying to who have to make those decisions, but at the same time, I feel like and one of the things I think you're going to see, because if teams like, I think Indiana only lost one game the entire year, and I think what you're going to start seeing is like some of these SEC teams, especially, they're going to stop scheduling tough opponents outside of the conference games, because it doesn't like our beating Clemson, it didn't help us. Like South Carolina beating Clemson didn't help us at all, even though they were the number, I want to say 11 or 12 team in the nation when we beat them. And it's like, how does that win not count for anything? You know what I mean? And so I think you're going to start seeing like a lot of the SEC schools and some of the other top schools like try to make their schedule as easy as possible, because it seems like all it really comes down to is just your record, wins and losses. It doesn't matter who you played. As long as your record is good, as long as you only got 1 or 2 losses over the course of the year, then you're probably you have a really good shot to get in. Which is, like us being both fans of SEC teams, we want to see those tough games like that. That's like
every time
seeing y'all play Alabama, seeing y'all play Texas, like being willing to take that. Like we played. Our schedule was South Carolina's schedule was so tough. We played LSU, we played Ole Miss, we played Alabama, we played Oklahoma. Oklahoma I don't think was ranked. no, was it Oklahoma or Texas A&M? I think it was Texas A&M that was ranked. But we had so many
Yeah.
tough games,
Yeah.
and ultimately it didn't benefit us. So
Yep.
um, so yeah, so I mean, like I said, I think they'll have to go back to the drawing board as far as like how they account for, you know, like who they let into the college football playoff, and I think they'll probably end up expanding it even further. Um, but we'll just have to see how that all kind of goes.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no. I was just gonna say, I just ultimately I agree. It's just it sucks because they already released the schedule for next year's games already. It's
Yeah.
just moving in the future. It only makes more sense. Like Oregon's gonna forever be like the top team in you know what I mean in Big Ten.
Because they don't
Like
really play. They don't really play anybody.
exactly, they only play Ohio State and then they don't go nowhere. If they lose,
Yeah.
they still have a chance of making the playoffs. If
Yep.
we lose, let's say if you lost against Georgia, you lost against Alabama, you lost against Texas and Tennessee, your season's done. You can't
Exactly.
afford to have more than 1 or 2 losses, maybe even 1, just more than
No,
1
you're absolutely right.
in your
You're
toes. So
absolutely
it's
right.
just I just would like for them to make it make sense to me because it doesn't I don't understand. Like Clemson is not a good team. Like they weren't a good team. They should have made it. Clemson and I will say SMU pissed me off. Like that should not have like no. No. Either SMU or Clemson makes it and then you just sub. Like I don't know. Like it didn't
No,
make any sense.
and I think what we're gonna see, and I guess that brings us into our last topic. We're actually gonna get into the first round matchups and kind of talk through those a bit.
Yep.
The scary part is, I think you're actually going to see um, a lot of these games just not really be that competitive, especially in the first round. And so,
Man,
just to
what are the
just to
games?
list out just to list out these matchups. So you got Notre Dame, Indiana playing on December the 20th. Um, Penn State and SMU play on the 21st. Ohio State and Tennessee play on the 21st also. And then you got Texas and Clemson, the final game. Or no, they're not the final game, but um,
Well, technically, the final game is Tennessee against Ohio State.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
So let's start with Notre Dame and Indiana. Currently, the spread is -7 in Notre
Mhm.
Dame's favor. And to be honest with you, I would be surprised really if it ends up being that close at all. Like I think I think they're going to win by multiple touchdowns. Um, because I just think there's a huge talent difference between Notre Dame and Indiana. What do you think?
I do as well. I think Notre Dame's probably the more battle tested team. They have Coach Freeman. He just got an extension. You
Just kind of
know,
extension. Yep.
yes. I'm happy for our black coaches out there doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. See, so with that, I think they're more battle tested. I don't Indiana. They just don't like. They're more of a basketball school to me.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have not really been a good college team for football, so I'm wondering how it's going to go. But I definitely think that Notre Dame should win by 14 or more points. So
Okay.
it just depends.
Yeah, I think we agree on that. I just wanted to go back and look at I wanted to go back and see who Notre Dame played
I'm gonna look at Indiana because I don't think they played against
this
anybody
year.
either.
All right, so Notre Dame schedule.
Mhm.
They did beat Texas A&M. They beat them 23-13 to start out the year. Um, they
Hmm.
lost to Northern Illinois, which is crazy. Uh,
Yo. Oh
but
man.
they lost 16-14 in Northern Illinois. They beat Purdue. They beat Miami of Ohio. They beat Louisville. Louisville was ranked at the time 15. Um, they beat Stanford, Georgia Tech. They beat Navy. Navy was ranked number 24 at the
Mhm.
time. They beat them 51-14. They beat Florida State 52-3. Gosh. They beat Virginia. They beat Army. Army was ranked number 19. and then they beat Southern Cal. That was their last win of the season.
I
Do you think
have
it's?
what's up?
I want to ask you something real quick. Do you think it's
Yeah.
fair? Because technically, they're not really like in a conference, and so like, do you think it's fair that they just kind of get to exist outside of the conference, and they have this huge big following because they're Notre Dame and they have this big brand that and a lot of fans, and they benefit from that? Do you think that that's fair? Do you think they should? Do you think they should have to join one of the conferences at least for football?
I thought they were in Big Ten now. If they're a conference of their own, I think they need to join Big Ten and then just stay there, or bring your butts over to ACC. Well, hold on, weren't they
Well,
supposed
they
to be
do play.
ACC?
They play ACC teams, but they
Hmm.
didn't play in the. They didn't play in the ACC championship, which is interesting because I know they had better records
Then SMU,
than
and they.
SMU. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, let me
That,
look this up real quick.
that's weird. Hmm.
I don't know if they're not eligible to. Oh, let me look this up. So yeah, so what they had, it's a special arrangement with the ACC that allows them to play a rotating selection of 5 ACC teams each season. They're not directly affiliated with the ACC with ACC for football. So
Hmm.
that I think that's the reason why they can't play. Um, they're not actually in the ACC, so they can't play in the ACC championship, but they
Mhm.
do play at least they play 5 ACC teams a year, basically
That's
on this.
weird. That's super weird. I think they need to choose a conference and stay with it.
I agree
The
because I
fact
think
that they're not is weird.
it benefits them to where they can basically, um, it's like they get the benefit of playing these ACC teams, which
Mm.
the ACC is weak. I think that's probably part of the reason why they chose to go that route.
Mhm.
But you know, they get to match up with ACC teams. They exist outside of the ACC, so they don't have to play a championship game.
Mhm.
And it's like as long as they're like, I mean, if you look at their schedule, they played. Let me see how many ranked opponents they played this year. They played 4 ranked opponents. They played Texas A&M, who was 20, Louisville, who was 15, Navy, who was 24, and Army, who was 19. But really, I mean, their schedule wasn't really that tough. I mean, I know Florida State had a down year that normally would probably be a tougher game for them, and then
Mhm.
Southern Cal had a down year as well, um, which I don't know. I do feel like they need to actually be forced to join an actual conference. That way, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that they just kind of get to exist outside of it and kind of do their own thing. If that makes sense.
Agreed. And then now, so I have Indiana's football schedule. They played against FIU. They won 31-7. Western Illinois, they won 77-3.
Phew.
UCLA, they won 42-13. Just keep looking at these lopsided games. Charlotte University, which I didn't even know had a university like that, and a football team. They won 52-14. They played against Maryland. They won 42-28. They played against Northwestern. They won 41-24. They played against Nebraska 56-7. Washington 31-17. Michigan State they won 47-10. And then Michigan they won 20-15. Who Michigan also beat with Ohio State. Then they played against an actual real team, the only ranked team in my opinion, Ohio State, and lost 38-15. And
Yeah,
then when they played against Purdue, 66-0, they won. So it's like I don't understand with these lopsided games in the schedule. It makes zero sense to me. But basically, overall, what you're saying, I agree with you. Notre Dame should win this game. I don't see Indiana having a chance. Their quarterback is good. He's a dual threat, but he's never played against linebackers and a defensive line like Notre Dame's.
gotcha. All right, let's move on to the next game. Penn State and SMU. Um, Penn State they played in the Did they play in the championship game?
Big Ten championship, yes, they did.
Yeah, and they beat. Trying to see. Oh, yeah, so they ended up finishing second in the Big Ten. Oh yeah, they got beat by Oregon, 45-37. Did you watch that game?
I did.
How
Their
close was
running
it?
backs, it was pretty close, but they couldn't stop the pass. They don't have cornerbacks like that or
Oh, okay,
safeties that
gotcha.
could stop the passing game that Oregon was trying to do. And their defensive line wasn't that good either because they couldn't stop the running. Their running backs are like 5'9", 5'9", like super small, but just getting through a lot of just easy tackles. Um, so yeah, no, it was a lopsided game at first, but Penn State tried to make a comeback, and I think Alar just threw like an interception in the end, and it was done after that.
Gotcha. Okay. The spread right now for that game is -8.5 in Penn State's favor. So
Mm,
um, they're thinking they're gonna, you know, win potentially somewhere around 9 points, by more than one touchdown. Um, yeah, man,
mm. I
I
mean,
think this is gonna be another one where SMU getting in based off of the fact that they lost to Clemson in the ACC championship game.
yeah,
I think it could, and they played Clemson tough. To be honest with you,
mhm,
I thought for sure. I feel like they didn't take some advantage of some of those opportunities in the ACC championship game that they had.
mhm,
And I thought for
mhm.
sure that the game was going to go to. I thought the game was
OT.
going to overtime. Yeah,
Mhm,
and Clemson ends up hitting the long field goal, but I think they're about to find out
yeah,
what it's like to. And don't get me wrong, Clemson they normally play tough opponents like in big games like that. They normally show up and kind of overperform, which I think is
mm,
what happened in that game. But I
mm.
think Penn State is like a different animal. So
It's a definitely bigger. It's a different animal. They're going to see what's going to go on, but I think, and I'll just say it here. I don't care if I'm wrong. I think SMU loses by more than 3 touchdowns, but that's just me.
you think
Just saying.
it's going to be more than
They're
three scores?
because they're running backs. They have two big running backs. I think they're about 6'2", 6'3". Them dudes run. They're like 215, two
Hmm.
twenty each, and I think they're going to get above over 100 yards apiece. So it just depends on what they can do. But SMU's defensive line isn't that good. So their main strength for SMU is their quarterback, and that dude looks like if he get hit the wrong way, he's out. So it just depends.
Yeah, offense is definitely the strength of their team. And if that offense isn't really clicking, then it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day for them.
Exactly.
So, next, let's get into uh, Texas and Clemson. Right now, the
Oh
spread
man.
is -12, so they're thinking it's going to be lopsided victory for Texas. To be honest with you, I feel like I would not be well, and I just said it too. I feel like Dabo normally, and I'm not, I'm a South Carolina fan, so I don't really like giving Clemson credit, but I will say Dabo, under normal circumstances,
Mm.
he normally has his team ready to play. You know what I mean? Um, so I wouldn't be, and also too, Quinn Ewers he had that ankle injury that he was working through. I don't know if there's really been any updates on that.
Yeah, it ain't getting better. I'll tell you that much.
Gotcha. Yeah. So,
Mm.
um, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being closer than what that spread indicates. But I do have Texas. I just think the difference in talent between Texas and Clemson is just going to be too much for them to overcome. I also don't think Klubnik, the Clemson quarterback, I'm just not super. I'm not super impressed with him really.
Mm.
Um, Even in the South Carolina game, I felt like Clemson, their offense had opportunities to kind of take control of that game, and they just didn't capitalize on it. And so I feel like if the running game isn't really being effective, it can be a little difficult for them to run their offense.
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like Texas just has great athletes all over the place on offense and defense, and we're really going to see a pretty big difference in the talent gap there between those two teams.
I just got to do this one time. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for Darbyl Sweeney, because he's going to have his team powered by the grace of God, Jesus Christ himself. So good luck with that. But we're talking about a real football team that my Georgia team had to freaking grind out 2 games in a row. Well, the first game we beat them handily. The second game came all the way down. It came down to some good old magic. But I honestly have to believe Sarkisian is very, very, very pissed off to the fact to where Texas is literally going to open up the playbook and they're going to be like, "Ewers, are you good to go? If you're not, we got a playbook for Manning and we're ready to bring him out." So it's kind of going to best of both worlds. I think they're going to emphasize both quarterbacks. Honestly, if I'm expecting, because Texas can come out and have a flop game, they can flop because they've shown it. But I think after getting beat 2 times in a row by us and us winning the SEC championship and them watching us doing all what we did after we won, I truly believe Clemson, it's not even going to be close. I think Clemson is going to lose by 21 points or more. And I do think that the deciding factor for Clemson, it's not even their offense or their it's not even their defense. Their offense is predicated on Kubnik. I don't think just watching the game, because we beat them and they lost against a whole bunch of other teams. When that pocket collapses, he panics.
Yeah.
And he just throws the ball anywhere and everywhere. So I don't think they have the offensive line to take care of the defensive line that Texas has. And their linebackers and cornerbacks are elite. So it just depends on what they're going to do. But I don't think if Texas comes out the way they should, should be they're pissed off, I think Clemson's it ain't going to be close.
Yeah, I think they really they wanted that bye badly. And the fact that they lost to y'all not once but twice, and y'all kept them from getting that bye. I think they're really gonna come out and trying to prove a point that
look, brother, playoff. Hey, Texas, if y'all can hear me, fans, we want to see y'all back in the national championship, buddy. Because as soon as we get our everything situated and everybody's fully healthy, because we're still not healthy, we will see y'all again. Best believe that. And Sarkisian, I told y'all. I said this to you, playoff off when we off the air. Texas, you gotta earn everything y'all get in the SEC. This is not the Big 12. Y'all don't know who y'all messing with, man. Y'all don't know who y'all messing with.
So you want them again? You want them again?
Hell yeah! Nobody's scared of Texas. Hey, what's it called? Pat McAfee did the first thing he've ever done, the right thing, the first time ever on his TV show, and when he did what's called the College Game Day. Down horns down. No, they did. They lost twice. And honestly, they didn't even deserve to make playoffs, if we're being honest. We beat y'all twice. We beat y'all twice. Y'all shouldn't have won. Y'all shouldn't have been there. Y'all should have been there. Should have been there. So, I mean, with Texas, it's like they were talking all that smack. They're ready, all of this, all of that. And now, on top of that, Kirby Smart. And I'm sorry I'm going on a tangent, but Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is already using the fact that Carson Beck is hurt. He's out. He's not playing in the playoffs. I think his college career is done.
Really?
We got Gunner. Yeah, because they said they're going to get second opinions, but he's not going to be ready for Sugar Bowl. He's not even practicing right now. They're trying to get second opinions on it. I think it's a tear. They don't want to say it's a tear. I think it's a tear.
Gotcha.
And I just think his college career is done. Kirby Smart's really good. One of his press conference he did on this week, he came in camouflage, which means he's ready for war. And I'm pretty sure we have a thing called Bloody Tuesday, to where that's probably the hardest practices of the week. And I think he's going to have our kids ready to go, because he's already telling Gunnar Stockton, they're saying you're not good enough. You can't be the next QB line. You shouldn't be. So with that, And I think a lot of the players on our team are taking slight because a lot of them should have been All-Americans and they weren't. So it's just for Texas. Y'all talk smack twice and y'all beat twice. We beat y'all at your own home, and we won in Georgia. So y'all got to earn everything y'all want. Y'all want to be national champs. Y'all haven't earned it yet. Now y'all have the hardest road to get there. And when y'all see us again, I hope we beat the shit out of y'all again. I'm just saying. I'm not even trying to be nice with Texas no more. Y'all came in the wrong conference thinking y'all about to take over. Don't matter what kind of recruiting class you got. It matters about the coach. Sarkisian, you're not as good as Kirby Smart. Sorry, dog. You're just not. But I don't know. I'm just saying. And look, you know this playoff. You earn everything in the SEC. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Did Texas come in? Oh, they came in like overhyped. I'm sorry. Like you can't bruh, for what? Like why are you guys over? Why y'all not even that good? Y'all not. Like come on, man. I didn't like how they came overhyped. They're new. Look, you guys are visitors into SEC right now. Y'all not even solidified. And then y'all come in here thinking y'all gonna rule it. Nah, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, we know one fan in particular that he was feeling himself and thinking that
dog, when they did the interviews, come on, man. Like he
yeah.
disrespected a couple teams. Like for me, it kind of seemed like they did, but
No, I got you. Well, we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see if Texas and Georgia end up meeting again. Last but not least, we got Ohio State and Tennessee. Ohio State is favored -7.5 in that game. I think this is definitely going to be the most competitive of the first round matchups, in my opinion. Tennessee, I mean, they beat Alabama. Did y'all play Tennessee this year?
We did, and we won. We won.
Okay. So I mean, they only lost 2 games the entire year. And they come from the SEC, so we know like the defense is, they're going to be out there hitting. The offense too. I mean, the quarterback that they have. Let me look up his name really quickly.
I can't even say his name right. I just know he is.
His name, but
he is a tall quarterback, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they're able to move the ball on offense as well. Ohio State. That I think we're going to find out a lot about who this Ohio State team is. They're coming off of losing to Michigan for the 4th straight, year.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, and we're gonna find out. I think it can go one of 2 ways. I think they can use it as motivation and try to come out and really prove a point, try to punch Tennessee in the mouth and show like, hey, even though we took that loss to Michigan, we're trying to win the whole thing. And honestly, I feel like the only way that Ryan Day even saves his job is he has to win the national championship. If he loses, if he doesn't make it if he doesn't win the national championship, I think his job it's a wrap for him.
Yeah, keep going.
They're already talking about his potential replacements out there, and Ohio State fans definitely they want him gone because one thing they do not allow is losing to Michigan, and like I said, coming off lost them for 4 years in a row. So I mean, and that loss is really inexcusable for, Michigan having a down year, Ohio State to be, I think they were the number 2 team, I think at the time, or number 3.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3. They were number 2 at the time, but then they were number 3 because they lost to
okay.
Those 2. Yeah, they lost. I forgot what game they lost. But
so for you to lose that game to Michigan after the year that they had is just it's inexcusable. So yeah, man. The only way he saves his job is if they win the whole thing. But the first step is beating Tennessee. So we're gonna see if they use it as motivation or if the team just kind of quit. Because I could definitely see where Tennessee comes out, gets out to an early lead, and they just lay down and quit, just kind of based off of losing to Michigan and how everything else is gone. So, they've been getting clowned on social media. ESPN, all the
rightfully so. They should be getting clowned. Yes, yes.
So yeah, we'll find out a lot about this Ohio State team when they play Tennessee. What are you thinking?
No, I agree. I'm just gonna say this because you've seen it. There's a video on it. As soon as Ohio State lost, Coach Ryan Day had the most dumbest, dumbfound look on his face. And he was in total shock they even lost.
Yeah.
So
He
with
didn't.
that, it's just like, call me biased. I just think I don't think any team not in the SEC is not winning for the next like 4 years. The national championship, I mean. Like, it doesn't make sense to me because Big Ten that you got, they're just not that good. Like if Oregon's the best y'all got, good luck. If Ohio State's the best y'all got, good luck. Because it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just because when it comes to SEC, defensive lines, them boys, it's something in the water. The linebackers are something in the water. Like, they just keep recruiting these kids and they just get kids that are just big. Like, everybody on like your guys' offensive line, ours, Alabama's, Tennessee, 300 pounders, all 300 pounders across the board. So it just depends on what they're going to do. Tennessee's running back he's a big dude, huge guy. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop him. The quarterback for Tennessee is really good as well. Can definitely throw any type of pass, very accurate, and he's a dual threat because he can scramble.
Yeah, you can run
The only thing about him is he's a freshman, isn't he? I think he's a freshman.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, I looked that up. I don't know if he's a freshman or not. If he's a sophomore, then he's definitely plays really good. I just did not know about him being a freshman, but I just think Tennessee's too good. I think they're going to win. Not handily.
He's I think. Yeah, he's a freshman.
Freshman, okay. Because that's what I was thinking. And it's like, he's a freshman. That's the only thing that's probably going to be his downfall. If I'm being honest, a lot of Ohio State players they've played like the game for a minute, and this is probably the highest they're ever going to be when it comes to what they're playing for right now. So, I think Tennessee ends up winning because they dominantly have a better defense and they can stop the run. They can stop the run. The only reason why I don't think Ohio State wins is because their inconsistency at quarterback. So I don't know if they're going to win anything or be able to put up points if the quarterback won't be able to see what's going on from his blind side when, Tennessee's going to get – I think they're going to be pretty dominant. So you win the trenches, like they say, you win the game. I think Tennessee wins the trenches both ways. And if that running back that they have gets over 100 yards, I think it's game over. So,
yeah. No, I agree with you. He's a red shirt. He's a red shirt freshman, by the way. Red shirt.
What does that mean? I don't even see. That's why I get confused on that.
I think like the red shirt is like if they didn't play a certain he's not actually like a true freshman. Like it's not his actual first year with the program. But a red shirt.
It's basically okay. Second.
Yeah, it's technically a second year, but he just didn't play enough games in his first year to where it took away his freshman status. If that makes sense.
Hey, more experience, better. Cool.
Yeah. So Lenora Sellers is a redshirt freshman too in South Carolina. So
wow,
same deal. But but yeah, man. We wanted to. I think that kind of covers everything as far as the first round matchups go. Was there anything you wanted to close out with before we call the episode?
Hey, I'm just last episode I told you we was gonna win the SEC championship. I'm glad about that. I said I don't know when it comes to national championship. I have to be truthful. My team's always up and down. I'm always gonna be go dogs, but it just depends. I think, and I'll say this now, I think to win the national championship, it's either gonna be Texas or Georgia. I'll say that now. I don't think Oregon's good enough. I love, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I just don't. They haven't played against anybody. I'm sorry, y'all. They have not played against anybody. And I don't know about y'all, but me and playoff know too well to be known. When's the last time Big Ten won a championship? Was it like before we got in 2020s? Like, was it?
It's been a while. I think.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? So it's been
ACC. Well, Michigan won.
Excuse me. I'm corrected. So yeah, Michigan won. And they didn't even let any of us get. They even let my team get in there to try to challenge them. By the way, I'm just saying. But when it comes down to it, it's just I think SEC overrules everything right now. I think they're more dominant. So it just depends on what happens. But I would love for Oregon to win the national championship. Always good to have new blood in there. But no, I think it's either gonna be Texas or Georgia. And they just need to get these schedules more corrected. Be more challenging games, play more challenging games, make the college football playoff more fun. We want it to be a dogfight.
Yeah, they want to see good matchups with really good teams.
Imagine if all of them were hard games, hard teams, and it went to overtime in each game.
Yeah,
That would, you know how the ratings would go for
people would
that?
love it.
So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's kind of my goal. So I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm good off everything right now, but just hope for a good weekend of football. Definitely gonna have that on. For the people who trying to make me watch basketball, good luck with that because college football's on and your team not playing. So we definitely watching some. So
All
for
right,
sure.
well, looking forward to the games. We'll see how those play out over the course of the weekend. We will come back to you next week to break down those games and what happened, the exciting moments, and who's moving on to the second round. So please, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and also turn on post notifications so you can catch new episodes after the catch, in addition to other PGM content that's put out as well, especially regarding the Lakers. So yeah, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Any and all feedback is welcome, and we look forward to chatting with you on the next episode. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.